All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get ready to talk about something that's, well, kind of gross. We're going to be talking about one of the unsung heroes of every ecosystem. And inside of every ecosystem, you have something called decomposers. Now, I already know some of you are thinking,
Ew, decomposers. You mean old worms and mold and fungus and all that nasty stuff?
yeah, that's exactly what I meant. But guess what? If decomposers disappeared, Earth would be buried in piles of dead stuff, and nothing new would ever grow again. So let's dig into what they really do. Pun absolutely intended. And let's start with this. That every living thing eventually dies. You, me, plants, animals, trees, insects, nothing that lives forever. And when those things die, their bodies still contain something called organic matter. Everybody say that with me real quick. Organic matter. Okay, so organic matter is stuff like carbon, nitrogen, proteins, and nutrients that other living things need. Now, here's the problem. You don't know what that is. Well, they're the basic building blocks of life, essentially, is organic matter. They're the things that make us us. Now, so, enter decomposers. Decomposers are these little organisms that break down dead plants, animals into simpler substances. You've probably seen many of them before, and we're going to talk about them right now. So, let me bring myself down here, and let's draw. I'm going to draw with that ugly color there. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about today is fungi. Fungi is a decomposer. I'm actually going to write that right here. Decomposers. Okay. Fungi is like a mushroom growing on a fallen log. Or sometimes, if you're like me and have weird soil in your backyard, then mushrooms sometimes grow there. Then, but that's not the only one. We have a few more that we're going to go over. Then comes in the weirdest one, to me at least, bacteria. And bacteria live in the soil. Now, here's the interesting thing about bacteria. You can't see them, but trust me, they're there. Then you have other ones like worms, obviously, and insects like beetles or maggots. They're really nasty. Almost all of these are really gross. But some of these decomposers are a certain type of decomposer called detritivores. Detritivores. Don't know what happened there. Detritivores. These are the ones that actually eat on dead stuff, like worms and pill bugs. Others, like bacteria and fungi, well, they break things down chemically, but they're all doing the same job, detritivores and non-detritivores. They're recycling nutrients back into the environment. So let's pause right here. I want you guys to answer this question. If decomposers didn't exist, what would happen to all the dead plants and animals? Well, I hope that you said something like it would just stay there forever and ever, dead, gross. The soil wouldn't even have nutrients for new things to grow. So it's very important to me that you guys know that decomposers don't just break things down, they actually return nutrients to the environment. These nutrients, like nitrogen and phosphorus, all go back into the soil, back into the water, or even into thin air through chemical processes. And that's called the nutrient cycle. And we're going to write that real quick. I want everybody to take a second and write the nutrient cycle. Now, here's the nutrient cycle. The nutrient cycle is a natural process of moving nutrients around through the ecosystem. So they can be used again. Right. So that's the nutrient cycle. And it's very, very important. Without the nutrient cycle, well, nothing would ever be born. So let's imagine this simple scene real quick. I'm going to bring myself up. If you need to pause it right here and write those, that is perfectly fine. I'm going to bring myself up here. Let's imagine a simple scene. A tree in a forest dies and falls to the ground. Without decomposers, that tree would just sit there. But fungi start to grow on it, breaking it down, making it into mushy wood. Insects and worms move in. Bacteria begins breaking down the inside of wood, and over time, the tree gets soft, crumbly, and eventually, if you wait long enough, breaks down into the soil. And guess what? That soil is now rich with nutrients. A new plant can grow right there, literally built from the nutrients of the old tree. It's essentially the circle of life from the Lion King, but with plants and dead things. So decomposers are basically nature's recyclers. They take something that's done, a dead animal, a fallen leaf, and turn it into something with raw materials for something new. So, let's quickly review some vocabulary. Let me bring myself down again. So here are the things that you guys need to know. You've got decomposer. What is a decomposer? Well, a decomposer is an organism that breaks things down. Dead things down. Okay, that's a decomposer. Then you have what's called a detrivore. Let me make sure I'm spelling it right here. O-R-E. A detrivore. Everybody say detrivore. Very good. That is a type of, like that Y, of decomposer that eats dead matter. Okay, then we have organic matter. Organic matter. Okay, and organic matter is natural stuff. Natural stuff from once living organisms. So natural stuff from dead organisms, we'll say. Okay, and then finally, we have nutrient cycle. And you guys should have already written this down, but just in case you didn't, it's how nutrients move through the environment. Okay, so pause right here, and if you need to, go ahead and go through all of those. I'll give you just a few seconds to pause. All right, I'm gonna pop back up. Okay, now, here's the really cool part of all this, okay? Decomposers are part of the food web. They don't just show up at the end, they're part of the system that keeps everything going, Energy starts with the sun, obviously, gets passed through producers and consumers, and finally ends up with decomposers. So they are the last part of this complex cycle, but they are the ones that break everything down and return the matter to the environment. That matter goes into plants, and then boom, the cycle starts again. So it's kind of this weird way that they're the end of the cycle, but they're also the beginning with the sun. If only we had producers and consumers, but no decomposers, then food webs would hit a dead end. There'd be no way to recycle nutrients, and eventually the system would run out of energy-rich material to keep things growing. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your room if you were never able to clean anything up. No trash taken out, no food wrappers thrown away, no laundry washed. Some people do this, and they're called hoarders. And after a few weeks, you couldn't live in there, safely at least. That's what an ecosystem looks like without decomposers. It looks like a hoarder's house. Just junk piling up and nowhere for anything new to go. So here's the big takeaway. Decomposers make life possible by cleaning up death. They keep the cycle going, they free up space and resources, and they give us the rich, healthy soil and clean water that producers like plants, and you and I even, need to grow. Here's a quick what-if scenario and then I'll be done. Let's all say that all decomposers on Earth vanished. What would happen inside of a year? Answer that real quick for me. Okay, let's wrap it up with a final challenge. On your whiteboard or notebook, answer this question. Why are decomposers just as important as predators, prey, producers, and the food web? Then draw a simple food web and add a mushroom or a worm or bacteria, any of the decomposers that we've learned about today, and show where they fit in. All right, awesome job today. You learned about that fungi, bacteria, and worms aren't just gross. They are, I'm not saying that they're not, but they're also genius. They're the reasons ecosystems stay clean and balanced and full of new life. So, good job today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Big shout out to OBSBot for sponsoring our channel. This little camera is awesome. It follows you around like it's got eyes and makes everything we do look super clear and cool. We get to make fun videos for you because of them. So thanks, OBSBot. A huge thank you to Bridgestone for sponsoring our channel. You probably know them because they make super strong tires that help cars, trucks, and even race cars zoom around safely. Tires might not seem exciting, but without them, we couldn't get to school, go on road trips, or even visit our favorite places. Thanks to Bridgestone, we get to keep making these awesome videos for you. So big thanks, Bridgestone.